So Renuka has transformed a lot from its inception to the new management to now. So what are some of the SBUs that you have strategically looked at or handled?
Renuka. It's a very, very forward-looking company. We have 3 SBUs, I would like to say.
Okay.
One is the ethanol part of it, second is the milling part of it, third is the refinery part of it.
How do you balance it? What's your management style, mantra?
So the safety of capital is something which is absolutely important. I think the success mantra is how do you deal with the people? How do you deal with your team? 360-degree evaluation.
You have seen sugar from India, sugar from globally, inside out, outside in. So is there anything the world has figured out that we haven't yet figured out?
It's a very interesting question. I would say the major difference lies in the global companies. They are very, very innovative in nature and they rely on the market forces, whereas India has a tremendous ability to operationalize the business opportunity, but they are highly dependent on the government policy for everything.
So in India, let's say the policymakers, who got the ears of policymakers? Who do they listen to?
If you say on the priority, it will always be the farmer, consumer and then industry. The good part about the government is that they listen to everyone.
So the DNA required for a FMCG commodity loose retail is very different from milling and refining and cogeneration. So how do you draw the line, distinguish these two businesses?
What an interesting question you ask. The BTC culture, the demands of BTC is very different than B2B model. So you have to create a culture within the culture, and that's where Madhur has been successful.
For example, put the next big money. Will it be in biofuels or biochemicals within Renuka?
I would think both.
Okay.
Both. Because to me, ethanol is a very, very big opportunity in India.
So talking about E20, what is supposed to come next and when is it coming?
I think India has been very, very strategic in terms of implementation of E20. Now the next step is from E20 to E85 or E100. Next big thing which will happen in India, in my opinion, is E85, which will be quite transformational.
Welcome to an interesting episode on ChiniMandi Podcast. This is your host, Shree Raman. Today we have Mr. Ravi Gupta, the executive board member at Shree Renuka Sugars Limited. He's got a potent mix of policy, operations, even handling a consumer-facing business. Today he's here to speak about India's sugar future, energy future, biochemicals future. It's going to be an interesting conversation and I can't wait to host him. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shree. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Sir, you have seen sugar from India, sugar from globally, inside out, outside in. So is there anything the world has figured out that we haven't yet figured out?
So it's a very interesting question. Many things I would say. Having seen the way the world global company works versus Indian company, global companies tends to be more strategic in nature, more forward-looking. Risk management is much more of importance.
Are you referring to the ABCD in the trade world?
Yes, ABCD as well as other manufacturing companies. They are very, very futuristic in nature. They are very, very innovative in nature. And they rely on the market forces, whereas India has a tremendous ability to operationalize the business opportunity, but they are highly dependent on the government policy for everything. So I would say the major difference lies in the global companies being more market-centric, more efficiency-oriented, more innovative-oriented.
Right.
And Indian company, more operational side, absolutely phenomenal operational execution capability, extremely entrepreneurial, even small opportunity they can encash at this at a very short time. And so that's one difference. And if you come to sugar, let's say, the global companies have changed their model long back.
Right.
So rather than becoming a sugar industry, just sugar industry, they have become integrated complexes. So they have sugar, they have cogeneration, they have ethanol, they have biochemicals. And so they don't look at one business, one skin of stick as sugar. They look at it as an integrated source of business complex. Whereas India has also taken a lead. I will not say that India has not taken a lead, but we were quite, we deferred it for too long. But now in last, I think 2014 14, 15 onwards, there is a major quantum jump since
Right.
ethanol play has come. Now, India is also looking at sugar business as an integrated energy complex business. So, I mean, that's the difference, primary difference which I see.
Yeah. Would you say that, maybe in future, near future, we would evolve so much with biofuels, biochemicals, and so on that sugar looks like a byproduct?
Sugar actually is byproduct even today.
Okay.
If you look at from the EBITDA perspective, from
Okay.
the profit margin
Yeah,
perspective,
yeah.
I think sugar is the least margin. So main margin is become in the other product which was earlier used to be called byproduct.
Yeah.
So the molasses has become very, very precious because of ethanol play. Press mud is getting into CBG.
Yes.
Cogeneration is also playing in the role. So I mean, to answer your question, sugar is the main product because
Even a spent wash might rank above.
exactly, you are so right. Actually, today's spent wash, if you look at it, is a perfect fuel,
Yes.
So it is being burned in the boiler. And the beauty about Indian sugar industry, which you would see, nothing gets wasted.
Of course not.
A
Yeah.
cane comes to the factory,
Yeah.
right from its bagasse, which is the fiber in it, sucrose
Goes
in
to
it,
cogeneration.
goes to cogeneration, and the water,
Yeah.
which is being recycled and being used. So I think in terms of integrated complex and in terms of recyclability, I do not think there is any other example of an agri industry which use everything which comes in the raw
Also,
material.
that's the
I mean, so much so.
gift of the sugar that it has the highest biomass and energy. So nothing about sugar is waste. Sugar cane is waste.
Right. So much so, even the dirt which comes along with it, that also goes as press mud.
Yes,
So,
yes. So that's what I'm saying. So in the scenario where what was for 5,000 years or so, sugar was the hero. Now that looks like you're saying that looks like a byproduct. Even a spent wash, EBITDA wise, is ranking
yeah,
above.
all other so-called byproduct, we are able to channelize into finished goods.
Valorize.
For extreme good value. So that thing is a transformational change. It happened in countries like Brazil much earlier,
Right.
around let's say 50 years ago. In our country, it's a let's say 15 years story.
A risk the industry is ignoring.
The risk is which is industry is growing more cane.
They should be growing or they shouldn't be.
They should be. There are two risks which I see. One is that the premium to green energy should continue.
Okay.
Right, today all this energy efficient program and the environment friendly program which we are doing is because it has a green content in it. Right, so the premium for green energy should continue. That is the one thing very, very important. That also goes for your biochemical which you mentioned several times in your conversation, and that we should make the world to learn. Do not equate carbon energy with green energy, because carbon energy will always be cheaper. It is not cheap if you add the social cost along with the carbon energy, the health cost and everything, then green energy is cheaper.
Right, true.
Right. So that premium for green energy should continue, and that is the biggest thing which, so when relating to that, carbon credit should come in.
Right.
And that will make it more market oriented once the carbon credit plays.
That's very profound and wise. So thank you. Let's say somebody from Mars comes suddenly to India. And how would you explain our sugar story to them?
So India's sugar story is one of the best. Yeah, imagine a sector which has, in terms of sector valuation, 1,50,000 crores.
Yeah.
A sector which caters to 5 crore farmers.
Yes, employment.
500,000 at least employees.
Yeah.
And this is a sector which has transformed wherever it has gone. You see anywhere across India, wherever there is a sugar industry, and you see around the radius of that sugar industry, even up to 50, 100 kilometers, you will see the prosperity.
True.
It has changed, it has transformed the sector totally. So that is one impact of it. Second major thing is, it is a very large tax earner for the government.
Yeah.
Right. It supports rural income, it supports GDP, and it is the most highlighted sector within the government. Earlier it was only for the food security, now it is also for the fuel security.
Right.
So if somebody has to see this sector, they have to see sector in this way.
And what would you caution the alien me about?
Very important question you ask. everything looks
Yeah.
hunky-dory when I explain you 1 lakh I have 50,000 crores sector and
Yeah.
so many farmer depend. But you have to be extremely careful when you come to India, and particularly for the people who are the global players when they come to India, that Indian sugar sector is still highly policy driven. So when you
Yeah.
come to this sector, just do not look at the financial numbers or the financial figures or the future.
It's not a fully free market or a open
it is
market.
highly controlled market,
Yes.
not even fully free. So you have to understand the policy framework in India, that it's a policy centric industry. You have to also understand the culture of India, because you are dealing with so many farmers. And then these are the two very, very important things which comes to my mind. But having said that, India has a major advantage there, because our farmers are very, very progressive. They understand the value of economic activity. They are very, very supportive at it. Not that if the foreign players come, they will be anyway against them. They are very, very supportive of that. Our policy, of course, red tapeism is part of any, because in democracy things do not happen so fast. But at the same time, it is quite predictable. We know the direction of the policy. Timing may be here, there, but we know by and large the direction of the policy. For example, ethanol play in India is now, it is defined. We have already reached to, E20 as of now, and very, very gradually and very, very systematically.
So talking about E20, yes, we have achieved it. Great success story. We are all happy. Way ahead of time. What is supposed to come next, and when is it coming?
No, very good question. India is going extremely systematically. Unlike the belief people might be having, I think India has been very, very strategic in terms of implementation of E20 so far.
Right.
The Prime Minister has had issued a roadmap of ethanol blending in India. And we are exactly going step by step. Look at it, at around 2016-17, India had surplus sugar. We were exporting sugar, at a subsidy.
Right. It is cyclical and lot of fluctuations. Yeah, year on year, everything.
We have used all those surplus sugar into an opportunity in ethanol.
Right.
I mean, when around 10 years ago, ethanol program was not even 3.5 crore liters. Today you are talking about 1,100 crore liters of ethanol mixing.
Sir, but okay, I get it. I respect that. I love it. But why draw the line there?
No, there is no line drawn in it. The first and foremost important was just to do the proof of concept. So that India has done in E20. They have built up an ecosystem.
Okay. Right.
They have built up the capacities to do it.
Yes.
They have proven that the feedstock availability is there, and they have created the whole lot of infrastructure and gave the confidence that we can do ethanol blending. Now the next step is from E20 to E85 or E100. And recently you would have heard the transport minister has also said that we are going to follow the path of E85.
Yeah, E85.
And in E85, the draft notification may be out any time. So next big thing which will happen in India, in my opinion, is E85, which will be quite transformational. So just to give you a perspective for your viewers, that when I say E85, we are talking about building a flexi fuel cars, which can run alternatively on petrol or on ethanol. And this is a successful...
And a variable rate of blended fuel as well.
Right. So this is something which is a proven technology in Brazil, being used since decades. And today, I would say around 100% of Brazilian vehicles are flex fuel vehicles.
FFVs,
at FFVs. And in Brazil's fuel consumption, I think 50% of it comes from ethanol.
Right.
So India is following that path of E85. And I think the whole policy drive has started going into that direction.
Yeah.
There are challenges, right? So some of the people would say that we do not have enough feedstocks for E85. I think that's a very oversimplified explanation of that, because to just give you a perspective, that we sell around 2.5 million vehicles every year in India.
Right.
So flex fuel car E85 is not possible on the vehicle which are already sold. If we start, let's say next year, let's say 2.5 million vehicle, each vehicle on an average take around 800 liters of petrol runs for 15,000 kilometers and so. Very ballpark number on back of the envelope number. So we need around 2 billion liters of ethanol because of the new vehicle. Even if I assume that 50% will be flexi fuel vehicles, right? So you are talking about 1 billion of potential ethanol demand, right? But even in Brazil, in spite of 100% fuel ethanol vehicle, 50% is the consumption. So even if we are able to generate a potential demand of 1 billion, actual demand will be 500 million.
Right.
So by 2030, I see that because of the flexible car, the demand will be around 3 billion liters. That is the rough estimate which we have. And we have enough feedstock for that. So I think as far as feedstock is concerned, it is not some of things which are my concern, because within the feedstock, we have created a big achievement, that we have created a multiplicity of feedstock, sugar cane, corn, even broken rice, which is there. Of course, broken rice is not the best bet. Corn is the best bet. And look at what it has done. I'll tell you, I have been in my previous roles, I have been one of the largest exporter of corn from India. Corn yields were merely 2 tons. When the ethanol pay happened, farmer got their minimum support price for corn, right? And the corn prices almost came to the MSP level. Otherwise, it used to be half of MSP levels.
Right.
And what it did resultantly, the yields of corn has increased. Earlier 2.5 ton of yield, now it is 4 ton. Rabi corn is around 6.5 million ton.
Right.
So I think when the opportunity comes, when the farmers are able to get the right prices, he's going to spend more time on cultivating that crop rightly, and the yields itself will increase. So feedstock wise, I think there is not such a big issue as far as the E85 is concerned.
Yeah, but we have seen some feedstock volatility in the past. The sugar was on and off for some time. That's where the rice came into picture. And then maize came into picture because there was an incentive given so that we are not overly dependent on one feedstock. Now maize is the larger feedstock. Suddenly sugar industry is saying, hey, this program was created for me. Now there is more maize diverted to the ethanol production.
So let me tell you, Shree, in a different fashion. This is the beauty of this program. When I say multiplicity of the feedstock, is essentially because you should not forget that you are an agriculture-driven feedstock.
Right. Okay.
So even if one commodity is in deficit, another commodity can make for it. So let's say if the sugar is less,
there is rice, or there is corn, or there is
right. And that is why I'm major votary of flex fuel cars, because that gives optionality.
Yeah.
Let us not forget that you are dealing with the agriculture-based ethanol. So volatility will be there.
Yeah.
So once you are flexible, you have an optionality to use or not to use. If you have surplus, you use more. If you have deficit, you use less.
Right.
And this multiplicity of feedstock is a very big thing which has happened in India.
So you're saying it's an advantage and not as much as a volatility?
No, volatility will happen. Right. Volatility will happen, but that's a part of any agriculture business, you know. But what I'm saying is, within the volatility, you have also stabilized by multiplicity of the feedstocks. Right. You have not one, you have several feedstocks now. So that is a big advantage which will drive it.
So some FFEs are launching this year. Maybe next year this time I want to do another episode with you on.
No, it would be a pleasure. You know, I have been associated with this program around 30 years, and I take it in mind. I say it with a lot of pride that it took around 15 years for it to start. It's finally started in 2015. But the growth between 2015 to 2027 is so phenomenal, makes me all happy. FFE is another thing, and government is thinking in that direction. But tell you that maybe I should also not miss telling you the challenges. So what will happen is in flexifuel cars that, ultimately you have to think from the point of customers, you know. So flexifuel cars are a little bit expensive, higher than the...
Yes, but we are getting some under 10 lakh car this time around, let's see.
Yeah. So you have to make that car, actually, you have to incentivize the customer to buy that car.
Of course, because it's going to be a little low on the mileage. Little.
So there are two aspects of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. One is the mileage aspect of it. Second is the cost of the equipment itself.
True.
So the cost of the vehicle itself. So when you want to promote a new thing, you have to
You have to
incentivize
incentivize,
in the price.
Sir, we have seen enough incentive scheme in FAME for
Exactly.
EVs. And,
Exactly.
So we will. I'm sure we will have something
100%.
around.
You hit the nail rightly, because
We have seen in PM Kusum for solar. We have seen it in FAME for EVs. So hoping something will come for FFE adoption.
no, absolutely. I mean, right thinking people like you. I think I think so long you allowed this cause, it will go into somebody's ears. And FAME is a very good example which you gave, and I appreciate your knowledge about this aspect. That what we did for EVs in FAME, we have to do something similar in flex fuel cars. When the customer goes to the showroom, right? You make the cost, the proposition of buying a flex fuel car so exciting for him that he goes for it.
Correct.
And second important thing which is there, which you also rightly said, about the mileage part of it. Because in terms of efficiency, ethanol will be always lower than the petrol.
Same as a CNG. I mean, CNG is not the best in performance, but it's best in pocket.
Right.
In economies of a fleet operator.
Right.
Yeah.
So that also we'll have to do that. How do we sell ethanol cheaper than petrol?
So with some tax recalculation, I'm sure the multiple ministries will make it happen.
I have a lot of faith.
In interest of our energy self-sufficiency, in interest of breathing in future, if not in terms of anything else.
Very important.
Yeah.
Very
so that
important.
We can breathe. One more generation can live to see that.
A very, very important aspect which you take. The way our cities, towns, the way in general our climate is deteriorating, we have to think about carbon emission.
Absolutely.
And there is no other way out.
Yes,
there
and
is absolutely no
it gives you income to farmer. It slows down migration to urban. I mean, there is only so much a city can take. I mean, we have seen Delhi, New Delhi, and NCR, NCT. Now, we will reach Shimla. NCTT or something, NCGT, greater territory will Panchkula se वैसा शिमला जाके इंडोर तक आ जाएगा.
That is new India for you. And that's the India which I think we will also see.
Other day somebody said, where are you from? Delhi? Where exactly? Panipat. I'm like, so that's the definition of Delhi now.
Highways. Now you can travel to Dehradun in 2.5 hours. One thing which is going to happen.
But if that much urbanization happens, imagine the load on our cities, right? So if your rural economy is doing well, there is no need for them to move to a city looking for a job. They're happy there.
Urbanization will
They can study there. They can lead a good life there. I'm not saying village people should stay there in some kind of misery. No, they can do well there. In fact, they might have better air than us.
Village will become urban villages, and that's what's happening.
That's
day and night, which is very good. That's a sign of prosperity.
When you say urbanization of a village, we mean better school, better hospital, better facilities, better sanitation, better everything. Doesn't mean you have to live in a pigeon hole next to me in the Bombay that I have chosen to live. If you have a Fortuner, you can rent it as a 1-bedroom in Bombay.
No, Bombay is also improving big time. You have ceiling, you have the road, good old time when I used to be in Bombay, traveling from, let's say, what are those areas, Ville Pals and Santa Cruz to South Bombay, used to take 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Now it's, Bombay also has increased infrastructure like anything. And that will actually increase the mobility.
Yes, but ultimately more mobility leads to more tailpipe and whatnot. So let's say the FFE takes off. Sir, moving a little bit about the business roles that you do and Renuka. So Renuka has transformed a lot from its inception to the new management to now. So what are some of the SBUs that you have strategically looked at or handled? Some of the stories I'm keen to hear.
I've been in Renuka last 13 years now, and one thing which is very unique to Renuka, it's a very, very forward-looking company.
Okay.
And it's since inception.
Right.
The kind of things which has been done in Renuka was always first. Leasing of plants, then we went to cogeneration. We were the first one to invest in ethanol ahead of the market, so we were much ahead of time. And so in terms of our business is absolutely, we have let's say we have 3 SBUs, I would like to say.
Okay.
One is the ethanol part of it, second is the milling part of it, third is the refinery part of it.
Okay.
Actually, I'll add another one, which is more important, is the FMCG part of it,
Retail.
which is
Yeah.
our Madur.
Madur. Yeah.
So Renuka, through its business, has captured all the elements of the value chain.
Right.
Right. So we are an Indian company, but global in a sense.
Yes.
So we, with our sugar refining business,
You are a global company in an Indian dhoti pajama, I would say. Otherwise, you are a completely an international company.
yeah, we keep 2 dresses, one dhoti pajama and one suit. So, so when we go to the refinery business, we do a suit, and when we are in India, we do dhoti pajama. So both of that. So the good part is that Indian sugar business is a very cyclical. So our refinery business is highly globally integrated.
Yeah.
So we are not only dealing with the Indian sugar cycle, we are also globally linked. So
Right.
that makes our business very, very strong.
Right.
And that way, I think we have been much ahead of time. And refining business in particular, I would say, is something which Renuka was ahead of everyone to think about it, and the model was extremely successful. And in this business, the country brought the sugar refining business from Middle East to India. It helped the country to have a manufacturing based business. It helped Renuka in terms of diversifying risk, and the fact that others are getting into the refinery business is a testimony that this business was the right decision. So
I agree. I mean, even the erstwhile founder had a very forward thinking even back in the day, right? So whether it was, I think farmers were a part of shareholders in the erstwhile company, and moving to Brazil and taking over operations there. Yeah. Renuka has always been the DNA has been that way.
Exactly. So the DNA of the company is like that.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of culture, we take a lot of pride, and we have very high professionalism in our company. Our culture is always forward looking. Even in the worst time, we have not thought backwards. We have always thought solution before the problem came. And that's why I take a lot of pride in being that saying that I am a Renukite.
Nice. Sir, so tomorrow, let's say you are starting a new SBU. How would you allocate capital? Is it just on viability, or do you want an assurance? For example, in ethanol, there was nearly an assurance. You make ethanol, OMC will pick it up. You don't have to worry. So that's a very assured business. Or there could be new biochemicals that are emerging, let's say a DME or something, or carbon capture. And so how would you allocate capital from a Renuka's lens if you're wearing that?
See, in general, I would not say particular Renuka. Everybody has his mindset. I'm a strong believer of compounding effect. I don't get very excited with highly
Flashy
volatile
stuff.
profits.
Right.
That's 1 year you're making a lot of money, second year not much. One of my gurus once told me that, Ravi, always be aware that you are into a cyclical business. In a cyclical business, the mistake which people do is that when the cycle is bullish, people forget that there will be a bearish cycle as well.
Right.
And they spend everything which they earn. And when the bearish cycle comes, they are not able to.
It's like a rude shock. Yeah.
So in terms of allocation of capital, I always is very, very conservative. For me, the safety of capital and consistent return is more important rather than putting the capital into a very risky
Not
asset.
pulling a fast one.
And assuming for a high profit. So I think in terms
it's a very
of
balanced and long term.
has to, because the business, particularly manufacturing business, they do not run for a year. It has to run for decades.
Right. So, sir, even in a best run company, there will always be that one middle child which could get some better attention. So you have something like that?
I won't say that,
Okay.
because touchwood, all of the verticals are doing very well as far as we are concerned.
Okay.
Refinery is doing very well. You see it from the result. Then our Madur, we are
Okay,
the
I'll
leading
reframe
brand.
the question. Which can do much better?
I think ethanol play.
Okay.
Ethanol play has a lot of scope in India.
Right.
Because imagine a country where you are 85% dependent on your transportation fuel, and imagine what you have seen recently in the Gulf, what has happened to the crude oil. I think ethanol and green energy play in the sugar sector is most promising play. That may be in terms of flex fuel cars, that may in terms of green chemicals, that may be in terms of doing the CBG, and that is something which I think India will be looking at.
Right. Sir, we mentioned that you are a global company with a, Indian avatar. I agree. But talking a little bit about management styles, so let's say there could be certain global expectations, whether it could be in terms of revenue, feedstock, or anything, right? But Indian realities are Indian realities. We have already established that it's policy driven, season driven. How do you balance it? What's your management style, mantra?
I'm a very orthodox in terms of my management style. For me, the safety of capital is very, very important.
Okay.
I generally give example to everyone. In our business, we make 2-3% as the net profit. In a commodity play, give and take. So your capital safety is much more important, because once you lose your capital by bad execution, you have to make 33 times of that
To
turnover
recover
to
that.
just to come at net
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
So the safety of capital is something which is absolutely important. And second is that our businesses are people-driven business. Technology is established and it works on it, but the people who are running it very, very important. So in the business, I think the success mantra is, how do you deal with the people? How do you deal with your team? 360-degree evaluation. तो जनरली मैं कहता हूँ अपने ऑफिस में कि हम लोग जो है 16 घंटे के करीब काम करते हैं. तो एक्चुअली इट्स नॉट 16 hours in ऑफिस में तो यू 8-9 hours, बट योर थिंकिंग प्रोसेस गोज एंड ऑन. So you have to make workplace the most productive and most happiest place. If your workplace is happiest, then ideas, then positivity, then thinking, then execution will automatically come to mind. So I give a lot of importance to making the workplace happy.
Okay, just say there is some undue ask from the global counterparts. How do you manage that? Something unrealistic. This is, for example, hey, look, my Asian markets is giving this to me. Why are you not giving? You are also in Asia.
In fact, to be honest with you, just to tell you, our global ask, they are much more experienced in the business.
So they wouldn't ask you unreasonable questions.
In fact, they are very, very supportive, because they having the understanding of the global business.
Bird's eye view. They have a bigger picture.
And they are not new kids on the block. They have seen life. They have seen better life than all of us. So I have never faced this situation that there's something which is asked which is not correct. So
maybe I should ask your colleagues out what kind of a boss you are. Now that your bosses are so good to you.
No, they are.
We'll find someone in your team.
They are. And I'll tell you, the global experience is really, really worth learning. I think I have been very fortunate. Fortunate that I have worked with a French company, I have worked with Australians, I have worked with Chinese, and I mean, the experience which you get when you are working with the global players.
Which was the Chinese company?
So you can cut Noble and Cofco.
Oh yeah, Cofco. Yeah, right. Noble.
Yeah. And it gives you a different kind of. In fact, my learning has been very good as far as working with global players is concerned. Their thought process, their risk assessment, their hedging, their future, strategies are very kind of forward-looking.
You brought up hedging. I wasn't originally going to ask you. Do you think India should have hedging?
See, the problem in India is that everything is highly controlled. Controlled in the sense,
I could still use it as a risk mitigation tool.
Of course, for the global business, hedging is the only way to do the risk management.
Risk,
But the problem in India comes is that your quota is released by the government. How much you will sell in the domestic market is released by the government. Your cane price is fixed by the government, right? Government for some reason also has in the mindset, this should be the highest price of sugar, this should be the lowest price of sugar.
Yeah.
So in terms of hedging, that the
what are you hedging?
What are you hedging, right? And so, I think what going forward India should look at is actually make this business more market oriented. And one of the watershed decision Rangarajan committee has done that you should have a revenue sharing formula with the farmers for when you pay the sugar cane. Once you have this revenue sharing formula back, right, then the efficiency will automatically come back.
Sir, in a way, isn't that how a Amul works or how a cooperative mill works? it is a kind of a revenue share with the.
No, so revenue sharing formula is not anything new. It is implemented globally that you
Right.
share your profits with the growers of the sugarcane,
Yeah.
and whosoever makes better profit, he
They
pays
get a
more to the
bigger
farmers.
piece of the.
Farmer get associated with it, and then you are creating a efficiency which is market driven.
Yeah.
So this is something which some part of time India should look at.
So how did Madhur Sugar happen? How long have you been running it? What's the scene?
So Mother Sugar was again before the time, we realized that globally there is nobody sells sugar in bulk like, when you go to a Kirana store, you say half kg of
Unbranded,
sugar.
yeah,
And
the transparent. Yeah.
so there was a real need of, having something which is pure hygiene and untouched by the hands. So Mother philosophy is loose nahi, Madhur sahi. So that loose has its own evils, because it
Could have insect, dust or anything, whatever. There's no promise of a brand there. Yeah.
So it took a lot of time, but now the customers like that idea, and that's why the Madhur is the largest brand, and we can.
Of course. Also, you white label it for some 100 more brands, if I'm not wrong. Right?
Pardon me?
About 80 brands. You white label it for 80 more brands?
Not really.
Not so many?
Sir. No,
Okay.
no.
Like you contract manufacture for other brands?
No, we don't do.
Oh, I'm mistaken. Sorry. Yeah.
In fact, to be honest with you, we don't have enough sugar to feed to Madhur. So
Wow.
brand needs much more. So
Oh
we
my
have the,
God.
the third party producer who produce for Madhur. So
Oh,
it's other way.
it's the other way around. Wow. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's because I knew something about Madhur or white label. Maybe I got mixed up a little bit. Sorry.
That must be some other company.
Yes. No, anyways, we'll leave it at that. Sir, it's very rare for companies to forward integrate. Companies backward integrate for scale, not given a choice. I remember when we were talking to Atulji on the earlier episode, he was saying, in India, organization should be allowed to land reform. Organization should be possibly able to own land, so farm land, so that they can have better backward integration, right? You have control over input feedstock. So usually companies go backward to get better control and economies. So Madhur Sugar is a retail, like imagine a B2B company getting into very few happens. I can only think of Tata Steel and Ashiana. I mean, for a company that sells steel in millions of tons, imagine they are selling one rebar. One, you can buy one on that website, one. It's same as me buying 1 kilo sugar from somebody who is buying. So I'll come to the question. So the DNA required for a FMCG commodity loose retail is very different from milling and refining and cogeneration. So how do you draw the line? How do you distinguish these two businesses? How do you ensure this forward-looking Renuka DNA is also in a heavily contested FMCG business like an ITC or a Unilever?
What an interesting question you ask. In fact, a very, very interesting question and very well thought of. You're so right that, the BTC culture, the demands of BTC is very different than B2B model.
Of course, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So you have to create a culture within the culture.
True, yeah.
And that's where Madhur has been successful. So our Madhur team culture will be very different than B2B culture.
Right. Yeah.
So there are different people who handle this. So it's not the same people who handle it. And the whole lot of team which is into Madhur, that is basically we have access to 100,000 retailers today and big infrastructure. Those teams are entirely different from the B2B marketers.
100,000 dealers?
Yeah, retailers we today.
Oh, retailers. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So that is the kind of power of brand we have. So.
Yeah. That's a case study by itself. Anyway, so maybe we'll dedicate one episode on Madhur itself in future. If you were to, for example, put the next big money, will it be in biofuels or biochemicals within Renuka?
So Renuka, I can't give you any forward-looking statement. Sure. I will just. So
yeah.
I would.
Hypothetically, okay. Let's say you are not in Renuka. So today I give you 1,000 crore as an individual to Ravi. So where would he invest it?
I would think both.
Okay.
Both, because to me ethanol is a very, very big opportunity in India, right? And if flex fuel cost comes to the time of the affair, which I'm very, very hopeful and bullish on that, I think ethanol will bring a lot of big play in itself, right? Along with that, biochemical also is an opportunity. But to me, for the short term, as I can see the future, ethanol will play a bigger role,
Sir,
because for that capacities is already there.
yes, I'll add to it. So ethanol, let's say, is reasonably mature. It's not fully there, but there are other biochemicals or PLA, DME, all this evolving, right? And most of them have the sugar roots to it. So I'm asking, as an individual, where would you bet?
See, what is opportunity exists in both the sides. So I'm not discounting that,
Right.
ethanol as well as biochemicals. So it is up to the, again, it's again the DNA of the company. Are you a integrated energy complex, or do you want to be an integrated chemical complex?
Okay, right.
Right. So that is the
Why not both?
difficult.
Okay.
Difficult, because ultimately it's the same raw material. So either you can use in chemical or you can use in ethanol. Right.
Okay.
And a lot of people have followed the chemical route and they have been equally successful. Right. And ours is more on the integrated energy side. That's why we have more ethanol. So
Interesting. Okay, I didn't see it that way, that it's the same.
ultimately you're using ethanol, right?
Yeah.
So,
What if I put 2G and disconnect sugar from it? So sugar goes to my chemical business and other
see,
feedstock goes to my
2G have its own challenge, because ultimately any product which you make, finished product, it has to compete in the market. So
at a reasonable price. Yeah.
so 2G ethanol is the technology has evolved. Technology doesn't have too much of issues, but the cost of 2G ethanol vis-a-vis 1G ethanol, there is a wide gap, and market do not pay that today. Of course, market will evolve.
But you can export 2G ethanol today, 1G you can't. So there are some.
Yeah, so long you have large capital to invest, because the capital cost for a 2G based ethanol is very, very high. And so long you have a assured market. I mean, tomorrow, for example, if the airline companies, they started, doing the long-term contract for sustainable aviation fuel, right? Why not? It will make sense to make 2G ethanol and supplies to them. But all this investment has to happen with a long-term commitment, so that the investment doesn't sell. It does not work with, volatile policy.
Got it. Sir, we'll briefly talk about some of the macro factors. I mean, these are again purely academic and curiosity discussion, nothing to do with your company policy. So, has sugar gone from a regular commodity to a strategic commodity with all the changing
100%.
geopolitics? Yeah.
100%. Sugar has become a part of food security. Right. I see a lot of countries, even in the Middle East, following a very protectionist policy in terms of sugar. Recently in one of the countries in the Middle East, they said that if you are exporting sugar, kindly take the approval in hand beforehand. So the sugar that way has become a food security and the part of that, because with these kind of events, countries wants to ensure that they have enough of food products. It's not true only with sugar; it's true for other commodities as well. So this is a major change which is happened. And in fact, this is not nothing new which anybody has to learn. When these kind of things happen, of course, you have to have food stock, food products for people to eat. And for India, I think it's a great learning, because the energy security has come on the forefront now, and that is why you see the very large discussion which is happening on ethanol, which is happening on CBG, which is happening on other realms of how do we make it energy secure. So all these things which happen, it makes us realize that never think that everything is going to be hunky dory. Be prepared for the.
Also, in talking of export, we have seen in the last 6 months, if you look at how much was allowed to export, how much a little more was added to it, if I'm not wrong, and then this whole geopolitical instability happened. I'm speculating in my head, we comfortably use any export ups and downs as a comfortable cushion for increase in price domestically. Are we doing that?
I won't say that
Okay. It's my speculation, purely my speculation.
So the export decisions are basically a kind of many factors are involved. How much surplus do you have? Because there is no point in India to have surplus sugar. It adds to the cost, it adds to the carrying cost, it blocks the capital, farmer needs to be paid. So the export decisions primarily are.
Once you announce an export, you open the gate or you close it, there is a price up and down in our domestic prices, which makes up for the revenue?
Not really. I mean, India has exported this year,
Yeah,
already we have did 0.6 million tons. Sugar prices are still lower than cost of production. Everybody knows about it. So, not that any spike has happened. So, I mean, it's kind of still sentiment as far as sugar is concerned, And I think any effort to make the sugar prices at least equal to cost of production is a welcome move, and that is something which is required so long you want to pay to the cane farmers. The cane areas have started building up again, as you would know, because the ethanol prices has not increased, sugar prices are below the cost of production, so that is the reason. So even if any action of this kind which can support the sugar prices, it should be a very welcome move.
Let's see. So, talking of another geopolitical aspect, it's not really geopolitical, but a interconnectedness, I would say. That popular saying, if Brazil sneezes, India catches the cold in sugar. Is this still true? Or are we cutting the cord and we are on our own there?
I would add, along with Brazil, India as well.
Oh, it's vice versa.
It's both the countries which drives the world.
Okay.
Earlier it was only Brazil.
Right.
But now it is both the countries. And I can tell you that when India has a surplus, it has a major bearing on the world market.
Yeah, the 2-3 million that we have becomes a swing for
absolutely. So India play in the global market has become a very, very big play. Between Brazil and India, we are everything. Right. Rest are all periphery. So both the countries now have an equal play. India has a permanently global play. Look at our exports. We have been exporting all the times. Then the biggest business which you see in India today is the sugar refining business, port-based refineries, right? Today, port-based refinery capacities has become close to 4 million tons, right? And so Brazil is also depending on India because it has to sell a lot of raw sugar to India. And the world is dependent on India because it has to buy a lot of white sugar from India. So India that way has become a very, very prominent and very formidable player in the global market.
Right. Sir, moving on to policy, like this is the dressing up of all the geopolitics that happen, right? So in India, let's say the policymakers, who got the ears of policymaker? Who do they listen to?
Good question. Good question. And I think,
is it the plight of a farmer and the 50 million farmers?
So
or
if
is
you
it
say
the millers, or
if you say on the priority, it will always be the farmer, consumer, and then industry.
Farmer, consumer,
and then the industry. Right? Industry is never on the top. But the good part about the government is that they listen to everyone. Government keeps their eyes and ears open. Right? But I am not saying that everything is smooth, everything happens timely. I mean,
there
we
are
know
chinks in
there
the
are a lot of pending things. For example, the ethanol prices have not been increased. Sugar prices are still below cost of production.
The mismatch between the selling
and export and imports can keep on getting the swing. But having said that, since they listen to everyone, there always remains a hope that action might be delayed, but it will happen. So. In terms of their eyes and ears, everything is watched very, very carefully. How much cane areas in the country? What is the sugar prices in the country? Is industry suffering or industry will be able to survive? All this is in the eyes of the government, right? But what you would like basically from the government is the speed of the decision, right? Timely decision, and also little bit forward-looking decision. 5 years from here to 5 years. We should not take decision for the year.
But that's where the weather comes into picture, wars come into picture. I mean, a fire.
See, I have a very different view, Shree, there. You should not be scared of taking a long-term visionary decision based on the weather. You should be able to accept that in any decision you take, weather volatility will be part of it.
Yeah, true. Okay, you are saying factor it in and play for that margin of error.
Because if something happens once in 5 years, and you don't make policy for 5 years that it can happen in once in 5 years, it's not going to work.
Yeah, true.
Right? You should make a hedge. You should make it sustainable. Like, for example, I told you an example of multiplicity of the feedstocks, right? But you should not be afraid of taking a decision.
You factor in the risk and mitigate it.
Absolutely.
Instead of being dumbfounded by it.
Don't be afraid of taking decision just because fearing that something wrong will happen. Because historically, once in 5 years has happened. You should be able to take decision and then when the crisis comes, just solve it. And there is enough ways to solve the crisis. I mean,
advent of ethanol, since then, do we see a struggle or a balance happening, or a struggle for balance happening in how sugar is treated from the policymakers' point of view since the advent of ethanol.
See, ethanol, I think
So
that
this includes a food fuel debate, a pricing debate,
by the
all
way,
of it.
let me just answer your second question first. This food versus fuel debate in India
Yeah.
is absolutely unfounded,
Okay.
right? You are exporting on an average 20 million ton of rice every year.
Wasn't there a ban on rice for quite some time?
But still the rice goes around. If you look at the last 5 years number, it will be close to 100 million, 75 million tons of basmati rice. Right. You are exporting corn regularly.
But that was very small.
No, in the
1 or
last
2 million metric ton it was.
Yeah, in spite of ethanol being there.
No,
still
before.
Yeah. Then you are exporting sugar every year. Small country or big quantity. So this food versus fuel debate, where is it?
You've always had surplus of one or the other grain.
We pick up concepts from global players and then we try to put it in India, as that there is a food versus. There is no food versus. In fact, I'll tell you, if you look at the ethanol play and the farmers, you won't believe it. It has done wonders.
Right.
You go back to 10 years. The farmer cane area was 20,000 crores. You don't hear all that.
Right.
Farmers are getting their payment on time. Right. You look at the plight of the corn farmers. They used to sell corn today, that time at 12 rupees, 13 rupees a kg.
Yeah. Now
today at
20,
least they are able to get 20 rupees plus minus. The prices were even 24 rupees. Right. So in a country where farmer is in the important part of the ecosystem, including the GDP, if they are happy with certain program and also at the same time, you are getting into energy security environment, I mean, there is nothing better than this. Where is the food versus fuel debate?
Thank you for saying it. The earlier question, is there a struggle to balance different interests now that ethanol has come into picture?
It will always happen.
Because initially there was, you said farmer, consumer, miller. Now there is also an OEM player, OMC player. How many more new players have? Family has grown.
See, when it is very simple. When there are two people chasing the same pie, right? There will always be a struggle to get the bigger share.
Right.
Right. And if you are referring to that, it is grain versus sugarcane ethanol. Right.
Yeah.
In my opinion, just create the demand.
Make the pie bigger.
Make the pie bigger. Everybody will be happy.
Right.
Today, all these problems are coming. Why? You have a capacity of 2,000 crore liters.
Yeah.
You have a demand of 1,100 crore liters. Right? You increase this demand to, let's say, another 1,500, 1,600 crore. Everybody is happy. The pie has become so big. Right? So rather than fighting against each other, make the pie bigger so that everybody is happy. And India is absolutely in a phenomenal position to do it. And very quickly it can do it.
Right.
Very quickly, and this is going to be something which is for the long term, which addresses the concern of weather, which you mentioned in your conversation, which also takes in one very big advantage of flex fuel cars, which I see is today, for example, if you increase the blend rate from 20% to, let's say, 22%, right?
Yeah.
So 2% ethanol has to travel across the country from one end to another. Right. When you do flexi fuel cars, make it a regional program. Let's say do it in Maharashtra, Karnataka and UP where there is surplus. Ethanol is consumed where it is produced.
Yeah.
It is much more healthier.
Right. You solve for logistics problem.
You solve for logistic problem. You reduce transportation carbon footprint.
Right. Yeah.
And you invest less in infrastructure rather than building up infrastructure all across India. You build up in these three states much more efficient.
Yeah.
And again, the proof of concept.
Yes, it might work for sugar-rich markets like Karnataka, Maharashtra. But what about there are far-flung states and cities like
again, this is a matter of doing it in phases. There is no point in doing a very big flex fuel car program in the states which doesn't have ethanol.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So first do it in the surplus states, which are quite defined, and then slowly
roll it out
take it to other states,
yeah.
roll it out everywhere.
Sir, I got a few rapid fire questions.
My goodness.
Don't be scared. I'm not firing at you. It's a friendly fire with dummy bullets. Yeah, so you can answer in few words or few seconds, whichever you choose. So, one global market you track obsessively.
Of course, Brazil. Of course, Brazil.
So, ethanol or biochemicals for the
Both.
future bet.
Both ethanol first, biochemical later.
Okay. You want policy stability or you want pricing freedom?
Policy stability. Absolutely policy stability.
So, one opportunity that exists, but everybody is kind of little late or slow to capitalize on it.
Sustainable aviation fuel. It's a
SAF,
big opportunity in India, right? People are not slow. People are prepared, right? People are prepared. It's like duck paddling in the water. Everybody is doing his sums. Everybody is ready to grab that opportunity. And that opportunity is a big opportunity which is going to come into India because Corsia has already defined a certain limit for which the aviation fuel should have SAF. And SAF is going to be a very, very big opportunity which will happen.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Your opinion about ChiniMandi?
How much time do I have?
Oh, as much as you want. For this, we have all the time in the world.
It can take 24 hours.
Okay.
And absolutely phenomenal platform.
Thank you.
I think ChiniMandi has made a place for itself, and it has become at least anybody who is involved with the sugar or ethanol. I think ChiniMandi is his first resort to get information and instant information. Amazing work done by Uppal and you and the whole team. I think, and ChiniMandi is not only the Indian name; it's a global name.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, since I deal with the global players day and night, I get a lot of forwards, which is basically ChiniMandi, news which comes back to me. And with ChiniMandi, another good thing happened because people understand sugar means chini. And mandi means market.
Correct. Global your compatriots and counterparts.
So you are not giving only the information about sugar ethanol, you have made the world learn the Hindi also.
They'll be like, okay, I found this interesting news, but what is this? What does that word mean?
What is chini?
That's what it starts with.
Phenomenal job. I
And a little word on what do you think of our conference as well?
So ChiniMandi conferences is also made at its place. I think it is done very, very well in terms of I've seen the participation of people and the very fact that you have your ministers come, and I think it is a good platform. And why I think the conferences are important in India, because world is very curious to know what's happening in India.
Right.
And conference is a very good source where the information is disseminated, and it's more of a dialogue rather than a monologue. So all this question, Q&A, when you network, you discuss the opportunity, and these are all the conferences in that manner which are happening on this area is very, very good for the industry, because it is able to laud the opportunity, it is able to laud the challenges, and with this network, a lot of opportunities are getting enhanced.
That's our vision too, sir. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, Shree.
I genuinely enjoyed this conversation.
Same here.
It would have gone for a couple more hours.
The next time.
But yes, we will do a follow-up. And like I said, maybe a year from now when the FFE hits the market, we will specifically focus on that. And maybe Madhur pe charcha, I want to go deep in, the marketer in me wants to dig so much deep into how Madhur made it.
Yeah, sure, anytime. I think you people as the platform has a big role to play, and I think you understand FFE at the back of your palm, so you should also do your
There
best.
is FFE, FMCG, so 2 conversations pending.
No,
we'll do that.
It would be my pleasure. It would be my pleasure. And thanks for having me here. It was actually very interesting to speak to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shree.
Thank you, sir.